Welcome to the Matrix Oracle, everyone. My name is Audrey. I am your host for this astro forecast, a special first quarter moon in the sign of Capricorn. The moon is our master teacher of the subconscious, the things we don't know and that are yet to be revealed. So the sacred dance between the sun and the moon, the conscious self and the subconscious self, have different layers of cycle. We just had an eclipse that was also a new moon, so a new 28 days intention. This collective intention is about bettering ourselves, being part of this greater mission as far as being part of humanity and raising our vibrations to raise and allow humanity to evolve in greater ways with more love, with more peace, with more harmony. When we get to the first quarter of this 28-day cycle, that means that we have the sun and the moon that are creating this squared energy. A little conflict, a little friction to know and allow us to know how to navigate this energy as far as, in this case, bettering ourselves. With this placement, we have the moon that is conjunct the master teacher of transformation and power. Those placements are about the mental prisons and liberating us from the old patterns, the old programs of whatever has been life on earth thus far. Now, with the sun in those placements of Libra, with Mercury conjunct, with Mars that is dancing also around this, we have a lot of divine reorganization that is coming through this process. And because this energy is in the fourth house, there's a lot of inherited patterns. The fourth house is about the home, the spiritual home. So what we were taught to believe, to feel, to know as true is here highly relevant. And obviously, as a spiritual being, you're going to want to transcend this perception, especially because the moon that is teaching us about the subconscious things that we're not seeing beyond what is in the seventh house, a house of relationship to others. This is also in esoteric astrology a house where the ego, the lower self, has to transcend itself in order to attain a higher expression. So this is kind of like the ego battle between what you know about yourself and what it is that you have yet to embody. So here, my dear soul family, this is definitely an activation for all those karmic chain breakers out there, the black sheeps, the one that know they have to step out of the habitual response to conflicts, to things that are manifested out there. So again, be the change that you want to see, witness in the world. This is really strong activation for everyone to be invited to review our emotions, our mental prisons, our limitations. Venus in the third house, the master teacher of desire and intention, in the placement of Virgo that speaks of structure. Also in those zodiac placement, if you take the first degrees of Aries all the way to this placement in Virgo for Venus, this is placement number 33. So definitely an activation in terms of our ascension process. Some of you, know I do frequency healing. I strongly suggest you look at the 33 vertebrae activation, because in the house of communication with your higher self, everything that you are wanting to be manifested and expressed, especially in accordance to breaking free from those karmic cycle, from the repetition of what we witness and that is aching us in the world, there is some really divine, great divine support in terms of communication with the higher self. In terms of shadow work, we have here Saturn, the master teacher of impact, action, reaction, that is in the 8th house. Very much about the things that we have to purge in order for us to change. So there's going to be a lot of, manifestation in our reality that are meant for us to be triggered. So we know how we have to change within ourselves first, so we can see this ripple out into the world. We are definitely going through a great awakening and spiritual initiation, especially with Neptune retrograde here in the 9th house. So the master teacher of our dreams, our goals, what we aspire to, in the house that speaks of stepping beyond and outside what we know. The collective North Node in the placement of Aries that speaks of recalibrating, rebalancing, yin yang, masculine, feminine, looking at what needs to be rectified, is conjunct to Chiron, the wounded healer that speaks here of the wounds of power, powerlessness. So we're seeing that there's a lot of innocents that are being victim to some of the manifestation of those conflicts, inner, outer. And this is here in the 10th house teaching us that this is part of our higher purpose. This is part of why we've incarnated and came on earth to kind of uplift and change this consciousness, entering the golden age of Aquarius. Last but not least, we have Jupiter retrograde and Uranus retrograde, master teacher of spiritual abundance in the placement that speaks of unconditional love, and the master teacher of growth and evolution in those placements that speaks of joy, success, optimism, that are in the house of humanity. How our inner work, our light work, shadow work is rippling outward. And you see there's a lot of blue lines, so they're trines, there are supportive energy that are connecting some of those planets. And that means that when you're facing your inner dark corners, your subconscious mental patterns, emotional patterns, you're releasing a lot of this energy to be recycled for something greater. Know that when you bring the light onto some obscure dark places of yourself, of your subconscious, you're actually allowing others to do the same. And the release of the hidden, of the fear, of the trauma is actually energies that can be released to the divine, to divine intelligence, and also be recycled in something that is more aligned with your new version of self, more in alignment with love, with compassion, with forgiveness, also for this whole process of ascension. Remember that you can look at the world of the map, something called astrocartography, in order to see where those planets are going to be triggered in the world, and look at your location. See if you are one of those lines that can be harmonious or disharmonious. In case you're highly sensitive, this is something that can be very helpful at this time. For my super empath, definitely if you need support in your energy field, your protection, I have the super empath series on my YouTube that has been really supportive even for myself, as far as being able to offer myself the space to do this inner work without having too much of the collective turmoil and feedback, echo back affect me. So your stillness, your inner work is greatly appreciated. I also suggest the SOAS frequency healing, because if you are carrying a lot of trauma, a lot of fears, a lot of unprocessed experiences, this is locked in your hips. The hips is where we have also the womb. The womb is what allows us to manifest. So definitely you can see the correlation here as far as how supportive this is. Dear soul family, this is all for this astro forecast. If you need personal guidance, support, I have plenty of options in my bio link. If you're watching on Instagram, if you're watching this on YouTube, go into the description box. Thank you so very much. Namaste.